Gut Punched, Alzheimer's, and Caregivers. Navigating the insidious illness of Alzheimer's is something nobody asks for. The disease sneaks up on you and your loved one, and it feels like you've been sucker punched in the gut. Then you ask, where do we turn for help? Who do we call? What do we do? These questions and more are what we hope to answer and give you some direction and hope. Now let's join our host, Jeff Edwards.
Greetings and welcome. This is Gut Punch, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, episode 46. How you doing? Hope everybody had a good week. I had a pretty good week. I spoke at an Alzheimer's Association dinner the other night. Some really great people I met. Very nice. Found out how important it is for them to raise money for research and things that people need resources from. It was a great group, really was. I took a cognitive test this past week. And look, I remember to tell you about it. That's a good thing. I can't lie. I was a bit stressed. I studied hard. It was an abbreviated version, but nonetheless, I was pretty nervous. I passed it. I did very well, actually. But I bring it up again because we know when we get to a certain age, and it's roughly 50 years and up, that we should start paying attention to the issue of memory. It'll also set up a baseline for tests in the future. Something to think about. Today we'll be looking at whether Ozempic may lower Alzheimer's rise with diabetes, and if delayed dream sleep is an early sign of Alzheimer's. Both pretty short articles, but very interesting. And then we're going to do part 2 of our interview with the owner of Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, an award-winning home care company. It is a fascinating company that has set the bar pretty high on home health care. I think you're going to like part 2. Okay, Gut Punch, Alzheimer's, Caregivers rules we follow. 1, you got to take care of yourself, because if something happens to you, who is going to take care of your loved one? 2, you can't do it alone. You need help. Find good caregiver groups or network with friends and relatives. 3, make a list of people, friends, relatives, co-workers who have offered to help you in time of need. And then make a list of things you need done but can't do yourself because caregiving duties are overwhelming. Use the lists. Start at the top and keep going till you get what you need done. You'll find it very helpful. Okie dokie, let's get into all of this. Here's an article from Newsmax, written by Dennis Thompson. It's called Ozempic May Lower Alzheimer's Risk with Diabetes. Add Alzheimer's disease to the list of conditions that might benefit from the revolutionary diabetes drug Ozempic, a new study says. People with type 2 diabetes taking semaglutide appear to have a significantly lower risk of developing Alzheimer's compared to patients taking 7 other diabetes drugs, researchers reported October 24th in the journal Alzheimer's and Dementia. The results jibe with other studies that have found semaglutide might protect against dementia, said lead researcher, and I can't say his name, so it's RONG, capital XU, a biomedical and informatics professor with Case Western Reserve School of Medicine in Cleveland. This new study provides real-world evidence for its impact on Alzheimer's disease, even though preclinical research has suggested that semaglutide may protect against neurodegeneration and neuroinflammation. Semaglutide is a glucagon-like peptide, GLP-1 drug, and is the active agent in Ozempic and its weight loss cousin, Wegovy. These medications mimic the GLP-1 hormone, which helps control insulin and blood sugar levels, decreases appetite, and slows digestion of food. For the study, researchers analyzed 3 years of health records for nearly 1 million U.S. patients with type 2 diabetes. They found that the patients prescribed semaglutide had a significantly lower risk of Alzheimer's disease compared to those taking 7 other diabetes meds. However, they warned that more research is needed to confirm this potential benefit. Results indicate that further research into semaglutide's use will need to be further investigated through randomized clinical trials, so alternative drugs can be tested as potential treatment for this debilitating illness, XU said.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Greg met his mother at their weekly dinner spot. She was about 15 minutes late because she took a wrong turn. They chatted through the meal, and she mentioned that she stopped playing cards with her friends. After eating, she excused herself and asked directions to the ladies' room. Greg missed 3 warning signs of Alzheimer's. Did you? Know where Alzheimer's and all dementia hide. Learn more at alz.org/10 signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Here's an article called Delayed Dream Sleep, an Early Sign of Alzheimer's. Now, it was written by Dennis Thompson, and it was published in Newsmax on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Delays in dreaming might be an early warning sign of Alzheimer's disease. People who take significantly longer to enter the rapid eye movement, REM, phase of sleep could be experiencing an early symptom of Alzheimer's. Researchers reported January 27th in the journal Alzheimer's and Dementia. Quote, the delay in REM sleep disrupts the brain's ability to consolidate memories by interfering with the process that contributes to learning and memory. Senior researcher Yu Leng, an associate professor in the University of California, San Francisco's Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, said in a news release, quote, if it is insufficient or delayed, it may increase the stress hormone cortisol, she said. This can impair the brain's hippocampus, a critical structure for the memory consolidation. Previous studies have shown that both the quality and amount of sleep people get can influence the risk of Alzheimer's. Now, for this study, researchers focused on REM sleep because during this phase, the brain processes memories, particularly those that are emotionally charged, and puts them into long-term storage. While people sleep, the REM phase tends to occur after 3 phases of non-REM sleep that are each deeper than the last, researchers said. These 4 phases take 90 minutes or more to complete, depending upon age, and a person might cycle through them 4 to 5 times during a typical night, researchers said. Older people tend to take longer to reach REM, researchers noted. For this study, researchers tracked 128 people with an average age of 70 who were being treated in the neurology unit of China-Japan Friendship Hospital in Beijing. Half the patients had Alzheimer's, and a third had mild cognitive impairment, a type of mental decline that itself is a warning sign for Alzheimer's. All participants slept overnight in the clinic so researchers could track their brainwave activity, eye movement, heart rate, and breathing. The research team then divided patients into 2 groups based on whether they entered REM sleep earlier or later than average. Now, on average, the early group entered REM less than 98 minutes after falling asleep, while the late group reached it more than 193 minutes into their slumber. Those with Alzheimer's were more likely to have delayed REM sleep, and they also had higher levels of the toxin brain proteins associated with the disorder, amyloid, and tau. People with delayed REM sleep also had higher levels of the toxic proteins, 16% more amyloid, and 29% more tau than those with early REM sleep. That's what the results showed. Further, delayed REM sleep also was associated with 39% lower levels of a healthy brain protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, whose levels drop in Alzheimer's patients. However, the study couldn't say in which direction the association runs, whether people developing Alzheimer's have delayed dream sleep or whether poor dreaming increases Alzheimer's risk. It could be that better sleep might help ward off Alzheimer's, researchers said, noting earlier mouse research that linked the use of the sleep supplement melatonin with decreased tau and amyloid levels. Other studies have also found that drugs that treat insomnia by blocking a chemical that suppresses REM sleep also decreases tau and amyloid, researchers said. Quote, future research should study the effects of certain medications that influence sleep patterns, as these may modify disease progression, Lang said. Unquote. In the meantime, people worried about their brain health should practice good sleep hygiene, researchers said. And this includes treating conditions like sleep apnea and avoiding heavy drinking, since both can interfere with a healthy sleep cycle. That's senior researcher Dr. Danteo Peng, a neurologist with China Japan Friendship Hospital, said in a news release, quote, patients taking certain antidepressants and sedatives that reduce REM sleep should discuss their concerns with their doctor if they are worried about Alzheimer's, Peng added. Pretty interesting.
We'll be right back to Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Are you the caregiver for someone living with dementia? You're not alone.
I was a caregiver for my wife for 10 years, and it was a lot of work.
I'm a caretaker for my wife who has Alzheimer's.
I'm a caregiver of my husband that has CTE, and it's incredibly challenging.
The Dubin Center in Fort Myers has been offering free educational classes and support since 1995.
The Dubin Center has helped me exponentially with so many questions answered. It's just been great.
This is Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
The name of the business is Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care. I visited their office a few weeks ago, and I spent some time with the owner, Ralph Lawton. In our last episode, we had been talking about the culture that he and his wife had created and how it brought some very good workers to their company that is helping them grow exponentially. Ralph, give us some more information.
With Heart, Body, and Mind, Pearl and I, this goes to lifting people up, we felt it's important to create career ladders so that it's not just a job, but we treat our caregivers, with respect and common courtesy, but also as professionals, so that they can view themselves as professionals. And by doing these classroom trainings, we do online. Once you've completed certain ones online, then you're into a classroom. When they're in a classroom, we feed them. So we provide meals. So it's a professional environment. And by giving them these skills trainings, Alzheimer's dementia skills training, Parkinson's, hospice support skills training, special classes for cancer patients. There's a few things that should be known if you're working with somebody who has cancer. By doing these things, one, we are offering a path to develop their skills, and then hopefully they can create a vision of themselves, maybe as a CNA, a certified nurse assistant, maybe as a licensed practical nurse, maybe as an RN, or whatever their path might be. And by doing that, our hope has been that we will become an employer of choice and that they'll remember us wherever they go in their path. That's one of the things that we've done here in order to reduce our turnover and reduce our attrition rate. And it's pretty low. Ours, comparatively, is pretty low to the national average. National average in turnover for caregivers in 2023 was 79.2%. So you think about it, in 2023, 79 out of 100 caregivers who were there on January 1st were gone by December 31st. Agencies are just churning through caregivers. So one way to have great care, right, and consistency of service and consistency of care is by keeping your people, not having high turnover. And so that was part of our strategy. The other thing that happened with us, 2024, we trained 83 caregivers in Alzheimer's and dementia care. 8 hours were online that they had to do, and then we paid them for that. And once they completed those 8 hours, then they had 5 hours in the classroom, and that's when we provided the meals. And Tara, who I mentioned, and Sandy from Port Charlotte conducted those Alzheimer's dementia classes. And what that helped was obviously build up skills, but also loyalty and a connection with the organization. You know, this doesn't happen in other places. And I think that is one of the things that differentiates us, but it's also something that empowers us, right? It makes us stronger and better because we have less turnover by far than the industry average. And we have folks who have been here 5 years, 6 years, but our turnover is pretty low. And people who say, so here's what we got to do, right? So as our business grew, we continue to invest. Here's what we do for our caregivers. All of our caregivers, we're pretty good payers in the market. Number one, we're top payers. Two, we offer paid time off. In this business, almost no company offers paid time off because caregivers typically work for many organizations at one time. They get paid time off. They get paid time off from day one, whether they're part-time or full-time. They get paid time off. They start accruing paid time off immediately, their first shift that they start working. And it's at the same rate that the office staff accrue paid time off. There's no difference. So it's paid time off, training, career development. We rolled out last year healthcare. So we have a healthcare plan for all of our employees, the same plan for whether you're office staff or your caregiver. We have a healthcare plan partly paid by the employee. The company pays half or more, I think, more than half of the monthly healthcare plan. It includes dental and vision and a telehealth option. And then we also have 401k with 50% matching. We've been doing that for 2 years now. So everybody can enroll in our 401k plan. Employees, if they give up to 3% of their pay, we will match 50% of their contribution. It's a retirement plan for the folks, but when you put it all together, our healthcare, our matching 401k, our PTO for day one, part-time or full-time, we have a whole array of benefits and career ladders for our caregivers. Is it perfect? But we have been able to, over the course of time, put all these things together where we not only can do these things for our staff, but our caregivers get that too. And I got to tell you, Jeff, Pearl and I are really proud of that. We really are.
It's very unique to your industry and to a lot of industries that you do so much for your employees. That's amazing. Now, there was something we talked about the other day, and something you shared with me was the dementia experience. And I found that fascinating. Will you explain that to our listeners, what it's all about?
Yes. So the dementia experience, as we embarked on this journey for developing experience dementia program for people living with brain change and training our caregivers, we realized that as we got better at doing that, engagement was and is a critical component of providing good care and a good care experience to our clients and their families. We did some research and reading and how to better engage clients at home. Well, we started that with a life story, find out what their interests were and are, a little bit about their history. The families would help us with that. So it would make the job a little bit easier for our caregivers in the home to engage, interact with folks who they were caring for. And then we said, well, what interests going outside into the community for people who either mild or moderate cognitive impairment would be helpful too, for cognitive stimulation, for emotional well-being, socialization. We started to think about, well, how do you do that? We've had folks go to park, gardens. We talked to a couple museums. We are just rolling that one out. But there's the botanical garden. We had conversations with the botanical garden to do an excursion there. And most recently, what happened is down in Naples, this was actually awesome, was Cars on Fifth. And so we said, we knew a gentleman because of the life story and all this. He was a car guy, has Alzheimer's, mid-stage. Mm-hmm. And we spoke to his family outside of state. You said, hey, we have an idea. If we take your dad to a car show, the daughter absolutely thought that'd be a great thing to do. So since we have a little bit of experience with that, we said, all right, crowd would be an issue. We put the supports around. It's called a venue where we were going to have lunch and said, look, is it okay if we don't go through the front door? Can we go through the back door? And of course, when we did pull up, they were waiting at the back door and helped our client. And we had one of our employees and then a caregiver with the client and led him through the back door. And then we had an area that was a quiet area where we could have a meal. But at any rate, our client experienced the car show with two of our employees there. One was a caregiver for that entire day. And we had AJ, who works with us in the office, taking photographs for the family it turned out to be a spectacular day for everybody. What we've just done is you went online and created a photo storybook of that entire day, and it is being mailed to the family out of state. They don't know. It'll be a surprise of their dad's day. That's an example of things that we have, as our experience internally improved, we have developed as an organization to a point where we can organize and do these things. What we will see is more and more of this rolling out this year. And so far, Jeff, we've been doing it one individual at a time. But this year, we are going to focus on small groups of our clients, and family could be invited too, going out on dementia experience excursions, low volume hours, or let's say off hours, so that we can manage the exterior stimulation of the folks who are going there, so we can control the environment to the degree possible.
That's an excellent idea. I know when you told me about it, I was like, I have to ask him about this, because it's over and above. It's over and above your normal care and what you normally would do, and it benefits everybody. I hope you continue that. Do you have any last thoughts, something you'd like us to know that I didn't ask you about?
Yes, I do. Thanks for asking, Jeff. You asked a question that I don't think I fully answered. We are national award winning. We engaged a company called Home Care Pulse, now Activated Insights, that does anonymous surveys of all of our clients. And they call 10 of our clients every month anonymously to rate us in several different criteria. And they also call 10 of our caregivers anonymously to talk about how we are as an employer. So that's been going on for the last couple of years. At the end of the year, we get compared to all other home care agencies that they survey in the United States and in Canada. As a result, in 2023 and in 2024, we have won every award in the United States and Canada for a private duty home care agency. And not only that, but we ranked 2 consecutive years, 2023, 2024, in the top 100 of thousands of those agencies. And so, coincidentally, both years we ranked 30 out of several thousand. With the NCC award, that's the Memory Care Seal of Excellence, because of all I mentioned that we do in dementia care, the CEO of the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioners contacted me about a year and a half ago. And we've been working with Patrick and NCCDP for, since then. But they evaluated our dementia care program summer of 2024. And at the end of September, they said, you folks at Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, you truly are innovative. And they awarded us the Memory Care Seal of Excellence. They allowed us to join their Memory Care Network of Excellence as the first home care agency in the United States of ever receiving that honor. So we were very grateful to Patrick Smith, the CEO of NCCDP, recognizing us and honoring us with that award.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
These were incremental steps. Every action and step we took, we were just like, hey, I think we should do this. This sounds like a good idea. What do we need to do? But in the end, things came together. And I'm telling you, it goes back to your first question. Tell me about your culture. We couldn't do it without the folks in this office who buy into the vision. And they work hard every day making sure our service is good. If there's any issues, any service delivery failures, those things will happen in home care. And we fix them. They take it personally. And in the end, then this has been the result. This call and your compliments honors those folks, really.
Now, how can our listeners contact you at Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care?
The main office is in Fort Myers. We service Naples and are opening an office in Naples. We've been in Naples for the last few years. We have an office in Port Charlotte. If you are in Fort Myers or Naples, call us at 239-603-6455. If you're in Charlotte, you can call that same number. We're at 941-347-4421, 941-347-4421. You can visit us on our website. That would be hbmhomecare.com. We would love to hear from you. We would love to be a resource for many of your listeners who call. If we're not able to be a resource, or if they need a higher level of care or whatever else, we also do provide referrals.
Well, Ralph, thank you so much for taking time from your busy day. I know you are busy. And to talk with us and introduce your business, Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care, to our audience. It's been a pleasure, and you have a great day.
It's my honor, Jeff. Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed our Part 2 talk with Ralph Lawton of Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care. Next week's episode, we'll be talking and dealing with the Intermezzo Choir. We'll be talking with the leader of the choir, and we'll be getting a chance to hear some clips from a rehearsal I attended just a couple of weeks ago. And they're getting ready for a live performance on March 26th. And we'll tie it in with another look on how music can affect memory. Sure does. If you know someone who has a family member or friends who are dealing with a loved one or who has Alzheimer's or any type of dementia, please share this podcast with them as we grow it to reach more caregivers and provide them with hope and direction. We would appreciate that very much. For more information, you can check out the Alzheimer's Support Network at alzsupport.org/about-us. And to find your local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, you can visit alz.org, local resources, find your local chapter. And the toll-free number for that is 1-800-272-3900. That's 1-800-272-3900. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call them if you need them. They're helpful. And you can check out the Dubin Center at dubincenter.com. Dr. Perry's HealthSpan Partners website is healthspansouthwestflorida.com. And for more information on the guide, it's probably easier to just Google it, Edge it, or DuckDuckGo it. You know, if there's a topic you would like to hear more about, let us know. The website is gutpunch.com, and the email address is gutpunchac@outlook.com. Thanks for joining us, and please come back again. Help us grow and spread the information and resources by hitting the subscribe button. God bless.
This has been Gut Punched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, with your host, Jeff Edwards. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to us on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and more. If you have a question or want to get in touch, our email is gutpunchedac@outlook.com.